So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Today we'll get back here at BSN Network. This is BSN Network Podcast here. Today is Friday, January 29th. Hope everyone's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day. Yes, their day. It is in fact Friday, January 29th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. It is the last day until the start of another packed sports weekend. It should be really good. No football on this weekend, but still a lot of basketball, a lot of hockey. Kentucky game did get postponed. They have some COVID issues within the program, so Kentucky game got postponed. But still, there is a ton of other basketball games on this weekend. NBA this weekend, NHL this weekend, another packed sports weekend ahead of us. The Rangers yesterday got the win. They won 3-2 in overtime. Alexis Lafreniere gets his first goal as a New York Ranger, gets his first goal of his young, up-and-coming, rising NHL career, and it was an overtime winner. Huge. I was celebrating. I was so excited. Great to get back into the win column. Obviously I did not have a good feeling about that game after it went into overtime just because I know how the team works. We always found a way to blow in overtime. And then the Buffalo Sabres literally 20, 30 seconds into the overtime had a 2-on-1 chance up the ice, and they just were not able to, they just couldn't convert. There was a great play by, I don't know who was on the ice. At the time, it was Mika Zibanejad. Great play by him, broke up the puck, and obviously, we were come back. Colin Blackwell had two really good back-to-back plays, passed it to Lafreniere, the one-timer right into the corner of the net. Great goal. Lafreniere obviously scored his first NHL goal. Rangers got the win. We moved to 2-4-1 on the season. So great news. Like I've been saying on this podcast, Lafreniere has been getting shots on goal. He's been getting these hustle plays. It's just some of this stuff that he's been doing isn't going into the stat sheet, but it's, he's just been playing so good. He had 4 shots on goal that game. He had a couple really good chances. He had a couple really good passes, right? The stat sheet's not going to show when you have a good pass or a bad pass. It's going to show how many passes and stuff you do, but it's not going to tell you if it was a good or a bad pass. It might tell you how many turnovers you have and stuff, but that's not necessarily always passes. That could just be someone stealing the puck from you, right? So he's had a couple really good games, and finally great to see him get his first point of his young NHL career. A big win for the Rangers yesterday. We needed to get back on track. We got 2 points from it. We got 1 point from the we got 1 point from overtime, 2 points for 1 point from the win, so 2 points. We now move to 2-4-1 on the season, still in last place, but definitely a good win. We could not have possibly fallen to 1-5-1. I would honestly, if we fell to 1-5-1, I would honestly say the season's in doubt. But it was a huge win, gets us back into the win column, and good way to start. Good way to start. Kind of a good way to kick off your weekend, area, right? Obviously Thursday night, now Friday night, good way to kick off the weekend is nearing, so it's a good way to kick it off. But for the topics today, we got Jock Peterson gets traded or gets signed by the Chicago Cubs. We'll talk about that. Pretty big, not a huge move, but a move nonetheless. He's a pretty decent big name in the MLB. Wouldn't say he's the biggest name in the world, but he's a pretty big name in the MLB. Obviously spent some time with the Dodgers, got a really good successful runs there. Obviously won a World Series, made an All-Star game. So we'll get in that. He's went to Cubs now. Then probably one of the biggest names in baseball, Nolan Arenado, is negotiating contracts. Supposedly the Rockies have reached out to the Reds, or the Reds have reached out to Rockies. Rumors are starting to really rumble that Nolan Arenado could possibly be on his way to Cincinnati to play with the Cincinnati Reds. We'll talk about it. We'll get into it. That's very, very big news because, not the Reds, I'm sorry, the Cardinals. That's pretty big news because, And that's pretty big news. Given that he's a big name, and given that he's he's a very good third baseman, that's pretty big news for the Cardinals. So we'll get into that. Obviously, that's big. I mean, that's big for not only the MLB, but that's big for the Cardinals, and not only just that division, but that's big for Arenado, because I think Arenado truly does want out of Colorado. I think Colorado kind of wants out of Arenado, but we'll see how that goes. So those rumors are really flying high. This is probably the most it's been. This has really been rumbling. Now we're actually hearing that they're putting deals out on the table. So we'll see if those deals come. We'll see if these things actually happen, or if it's just all one big rumor that does not happen. So I'll get into that. No one are not rumors. Then we got college basketball, NBA, NHL, Nets, Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, Kentucky, obviously, and fantasy. So you got college basketball, NBA, NHL, and your regular New York sports report with some fantasy involved there. Kentucky obviously doesn't play this weekend. Their game got postponed due to some COVID issues within the Kentucky program. So someone tested positive, or someone was in close contact with someone who tested positive. So the Kentucky game got postponed this week, which means they will not be able to play more than likely for the next 2 weeks, because you have to have a quarantine period of 2 weeks. So Kentucky might be off for a while, which this really hurts us, because one, you don't want to see anyone get the virus, and you want to have a smooth season. But number two, for a team like Kentucky, who's trying to make a last second, to try to make it last second into the March Madness, obviously trying to make it last second, with trying to get some of these big wins against, that's a big opponent. Now you lose out on a chance of upsetting the number 5th team in the nation in Texas. So that's huge. You obviously don't have that opportunity now. So Kentucky's going to lose some opportunities here to try to, show the writers and the voters for the March Madness that they deserve to be in. So it's obviously frustrating as a fan standpoint, but at the same time, I hope everyone's okay, and I hope they can return to the court as quickly as possible. But no Kentucky basketball this weekend, which means I'll have more, which means I can really watch whatever games I really want. So that game's got postponed, but we'll still get into it, because I kind of want to read a little bit about it, the whole COVID situation there, and I also want to get into some other college basketball stuff as well. So yeah, so another packed Friday. Obviously I don't do podcasts on Saturday, Sunday, so a lot of times Friday is a packed podcast, because I'm talking about everything, and I won't do a podcast again until Monday. So there's so much stuff to cover. So with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So So Cubs rumors. Jock Peterson agrees to 1 year, $7 million contract with the Chicago Cubs. The longtime Los Angeles Dodger outfielder Jock Peterson, for the first time in his career, will not be playing a season in a Los Angeles Dodgers uniform. That is odd to say. And I'll get into this whole, contract thing and all that. That is weird to say. You always have those players, where, they'll play for a team for like 6-7 years, or in this case, Jock Peterson played for the Dodgers for 5 years. You always have those players. You always have those players who play for a long time and usually stay with that team. You always have those players. And then you also have those players who bounce around the league. 1 year they're with this team. The next year they're with this team. Oh, well, let's stay on this team. And then I'm on this team. Oh, I'm on also this team. You're on 6-7 different teams in like 8 seasons. But Jock Peterson wasn't one of them. And he obviously has been a Dodger since he came up in the minors. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of a Steven Matz situation yesterday with the New York Mets. Obviously, them trading Steven Matz. Obviously, the Dodgers didn't trade Jock Peterson. They just never re-signed him. But Jock Peterson, for the first time in a very long time, will not be playing a regular season game in a Dodgers uniform. He's obviously been with the Dodgers for a very long time. I think it's 5 years now. I think he joined the league in 2015 and made an all-star game, I think, his first year. Really played well. This is a guy that I think really, you could really go into so many different things about him, but I really believe this guy is a pretty underrated baseball player. He's got a lot of talent. He has a lot of, he's a lot of strength. He's very, 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 he's very strong. He can hit the long ball. I've always said on this podcast how I'm not a huge fan of players that can really only strictly hit the long ball. I would say with him, he's more known for his power hitting rather than his contact, his getting on base, his runs scored, his RBIs. I would more say that he's more known for his power hitting. He did make it to the home run derby once. I don't think he won it. I do remember watching it. I think he came in second. I don't know who he lost to, but I remember he came in second, and he made a pretty deep run in the home run derby. This is a guy that's more of a home run hitter, which is what the Cubs exactly need right now because they obviously don't have Kyle Schwarber anymore, who obviously they let go. Obviously, he was a free agent. They never re-signed him. He's obviously with another team now. I'm not too sure. I think he signed with the Nationals, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, he's with another team now, so it's kind of like they're adding that same bat. They're adding an outfielder, and now they're going to add almost the same bat. Schwarber was kind of that power hitting guy that would hit it deep at Wrigley. Now, Jock Peterson would be considered that more power hitting guy. He's going to fill in Kyle Schwarber's shoes. I mean, I would say he's going to be more consistent, everyday player than Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber really wasn't one of those everyday players. He was more of a, you throw me in whenever you need me. I'll play 2 games. I'll sit 3. I'll play 4. I'll sit 3, or I'll play 1, sit 1, whatever. Jock Peterson's more of a guy that's going to play consistent. He's going to play every night unless if it's an injury or it's a I don't know, a doubleheader. He doesn't play the first game or whatever. But this is a Jock Peterson guy that there should be no reason why he doesn't play 90-95% of the games, unless obviously if a injury comes around and he misses 10-15 games or obviously is on a 10-day IL and can't play. But for the most part, that's the one advantage you're getting with Jock Peterson is this guy's going to go out there. He's going to play games. He's going to do the job. He's not going to be a 350 hitter throwing, hitting 5, having a 100 RBI year and putting up 40 home runs. No, he's not going to do that. He might put up 30, 35 home runs or 20 to 30 home runs. Get on base, he'll draw walks. But like I said, I have no problem with guys being power hitters. But I do like guys that are about 50-50. I wouldn't say Jock Peterson is a 50-50 hitter, although he has done a better job the past 3-4 years, I would say. Not even just the past 3-4, really the past 2 to 3. Even you could even say just last year in general, he got a whole lot better with his He just got a whole lot better with his contact hitting. He wasn't so much about swinging for the fences. It wasn't like the year he made it to the home run derby where he was really home run or nothing. This guy has really evolved into more of a contact hitter, not so much just relying on the long ball to be successful. And I think that's really paid off for him because he obviously was with the Dodgers. They obviously saw something in him when he was coming up in the minors. He went on the team. He made an impact immediately. He made the All-Star game and all that stuff. And obviously last season he was a key contributor. Like I said, I think this is one of the more underrated players, not just on the Dodgers, but on the in the MLB. I mean, this guy's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of strength. He's got a really good just his baseball IQ is really good. He's really good in the field. I mean, would I consider him a top 10, top 15 player in the league right now? No. Would I consider him a solid power hitter? Yes. Would I consider him a contact hitter? No, I wouldn't consider him a LeMahieu or a Lindor or a, to kind of put in New York sports standards there, or who's some other contact hitters. Or I would say more, if anything, he's more like a, see, I don't want to say he's like a Yelich or a Bellinger because that's some high praise. But I would so much say he's like one, because Bellinger, to bring it back to his former teammate, obviously Cody Bellinger, one of the biggest names in baseball right now, taking the league by storm the past couple years. Obviously with Bellinger, there's a little bit of a difference because Bellinger, he can almost do all things. I wouldn't say that Jock Peterson can do everything. I mean, Bellinger at times, he could hit the ball 400 for you, but he could also hit, he could hit a Oppo Taco single, or whatever you want to say. I mean, I wouldn't so much say Jock Peterson could do all of that. But I would so much say he's more even. I mean, like I said, when he first came into the league, he obviously made the home run derby and stuff. Like, I think it was 3 years ago he made it. Obviously, obviously he, with the whole thing involving, Jock Peterson and everything, when he first came into the league, it was almost like he was more of a home run or nothing kind of guy. He was more of a home run or bust. He was more of a, a home run. And I don't want to say that wasn't working. Right, here's my whole thing. Is each player has a different play style, right? Some players might be strictly contact guys, get on base, maybe hit 1, 2, or 3 home runs a year. They'll do that. Very rare to see those guys now because the game is more evolving into a power hitting game, but you still see those guys. To think of an example, I would go ahead and say, Ronald Torreyes used to play for the Yankees. He used to be the utility guy. He would be a guy. The 1 year he played with us, he played like a good amount of games. He didn't play every day, but he played a good amount of games, and he only had 3 home runs. And he had a lot of singles, doubles. I don't want to, use size here to judge a player, but he was on the tinier side of things, so he didn't have as much power as, a Judge or a Stanton or, some of these guys like that. Or even Peterson, very tall, very strong, not as much power as that. And, I'm not trying to use height to try to judge a player here, but it's the truth. Usually if you're taller, if you're bigger, you'll have more power, and that's just that's how you are. And a lot of times these smaller hitters, they're different. They go into a different role, and each height size has a different feel, because taller hitters, they're really good at hitting home runs. Small, but they might not be as good as hitting, getting more contact. Small hitters might be better at, certain situational stuff, bunting, getting a single, getting a double. They might be quicker on the bases. There's an advantage and disadvantage to however tall you are. So that would be probably that. Then the next one would probably be, it's strictly power. Then it would be power with a little bit of, that, and it would be about 50-50, 60-40 power and in contact, and you would have maybe more contact than power, like a LeMahieu in a way. He's probably 65-70% contact, but he can still get 15-20 home runs a year. And then there's guys at the bottom where you might see 2, 3 to 4, anywhere from the 1 to 5 range of home runs, but a lot of singles, doubles, and really good on the base paths. I would say that Jock Peterson probably stands around the 50-50, 60-40 mark. Probably about 65-35, probably about 65% of a home run kind of guy and about a 35% contact. When he first joined the league, it was probably about a 90-10 or even like a 95-5. It was really home run or nothing with that guy. And you see that with a lot of players entering the league. You even saw it with Judge. His first year, he hit 52 home runs. It seemed like his first year, it was home run or nothing. Now he's turned into more of a guy that's going to be more, he's probably still like 65-70, but he's more of a 60 to 40 now. He can hit the home run, but he could also really hit the ground ball, the doubles and things like that. And that's why I feel like Jock Peterson. And a lot of times that happens with young players in the MLB, is sometimes they try to do so much their first year, they just swing for the fences, and because they know, they obviously want to come into the lead, they want to make a mark, and there's nothing better than showing your coach that you can hit the long ball 450 feet like Judge did his rookie year. There's nothing better than, you showing your coach that you can hit the ball 490 feet. Not saying Jock Peterson do that, but for example, like a Judge, he hit the ball 490 feet at home against the Orioles. He hit it all the way up in the bleachers. I remember watching the game. Nothing better than showing your coach can do that. Same thing with Jock Peterson. First year, he proved his point. Hey, I can hit the long ball. But then in the offseason, he's like, all right, I can't be one-dimensional. I got to switch. And that's what's big, because I feel like in the Cubs, when they had Kyle Schwarber, it was more 75-80 to 20. 80% power, 20% contact. And then you're now getting a guy that could still hit the ball far, but you're also getting more of a contact guy. And he actually used his contact pretty big in the World Series. Seager actually, as surprising as it may sound, and I don't have to go through this because we all watched the World Series, but Seager was the big home run guy in that World Series. And he obviously had Bellinger hit the home run as well. I don't know if Peterson had one, but I obviously do know that he was, like I said, Peterson's been very underrated. Peterson had a good playoffs, too. Him, Seager, and Bellinger were really prime guys. Turner had a couple moments, but he also had a couple questionable moments. Kiki Hernandez, he had pretty decent. Seager was definitely the best. Bellinger was the fan favorite, so he seemed like the use. But Mookie Betts had a couple good ones. That team was stacked, and Peterson had a big part of it. And like I said, not many people might not know who Peterson is, but in my opinion, he's a very underrated player. This is a guy that, I really believe he can really make a mark. And I'm not, and this isn't one of these moves where, this is going to propel your team from a playoff to a World Series. This isn't a move that's going to propel your team from rebuild to being a solid playoff team. It's not going to be that move. This will be a move that improves your team. It's going to, maybe if your team's right here, I might put your team to about here. It's not going to put your team up here. This isn't one, it's not like a move, it's not like for example, I'm going to use another sport. Basketball, let's keep with the Nets. When they got KD and Kyrie, this was a move that turned the team into a rebuild move to a team that was an automatic contender. And then they added Harden, and it was finals or bust. That's that this is a little different. It's not the same here. This deal, the Cubs are entering a little bit of a rebuild, and this move probably helps you that much, which is about the average move. Like if Lindor, or let's just say Bauer, goes to the Mets. If the Mets are about right here, he'll probably hire him up to about here. Peterson's probably about here, and if you sign like a prospect, it pretty much keeps your team the same. So Peterson's probably about right here. Like if the Mets would sign Bauer, it'd probably be here. And let's just say, I don't know, the Yankees go out and any pitcher out there. Like when the Yankees signed Cole, it took them from here to literally, World Series. Really, a lot of people thought they were the best team in the league. They obviously never won it. Dodgers did, but we get the point, right? So this is a good move. And this is also another thing with the Cubs. And now we're getting into this article right after this, and I want to get into some of his stats. This is another thing with the Cubs, too. They're in an interesting situation. They're kind of in the middle. They have the talent to be a playoff team, but they also are in a situation where they have some of their key players, not completely sold on if they want to play with the Cubs. They're kind of in the middle of playoff contender and rebuild. And if they are going to rebuild, then I think Jock Peterson, not saying that a player ever wants to go through a rebuild, but I think this is big because if they do decide to go through a rebuild, I think Jock Peterson would definitely be the guy that could definitely be, one of the mainstays here. If he has a good year this year, they obviously don't do that well as a team, but he has a good year. You could sign him to a bigger deal, get him here for 3-4 years, build around him, and, make a solid base, and he could stay there for a little bit. Because you got to realize, this guy has been in the league for about 5 years now, but he's still pretty young. So he's not like in his late 30s. I think he's late 20s, early 30s. So he's still got, very well 7, 8, 9 more years left of baseball left. Assuming he goes to about 37, 38-ish, he's probably got about 5, 6, 7 more years of baseball left. Who knows what could happen? He could just sit in free agency for whatever the case may be. He could very well play one more year here, sit in free agency for a couple of years, and not get picked up again. But I don't foresee that happening. And like with a team with like a Chris Bryant, a guy who at this moment, it's kind of a little bit of a head case for, this Cubs team. No one really knows what to do with him. You're bringing in Jock Peterson. This guy's not going to cause problems around the locker room. So, solid move for the Chicago Cubs. Cubs rumors, Jock Peterson agrees to a 1-year, $7 million contract. Outfielder Jock Peterson is no longer on the Los Angeles Dodgers for real this time. He is reportedly set to sign with the Chicago Cubs once he completes his physical after coming to terms Friday, per Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. ESPN's Jeff Passan reported it's a 1-year, $7 million contract. It appeared as if Peterson's time with the Dodgers was going to end prior to the 2020 campaign when they seemed to trade him to the Los Angeles Angels, but the deal was called off February 9th. The move was hinging on another trade between the Boston Red Sox, Dodgers, and Minnesota Twins that sent Mookie Betts and David Price to the Dodgers, among other pieces. However, Passan reported the Red Sox were spooked by the medical reviews of pitching prospect Bruce Gattuso in an original trade. That had a lengthy delay, and then eventually reshaping of the deals that still sent Betts to the Dodgers as the headliner. The trade between the two Los Angeles Angels teams never went through, though. Peterson remained in Los Angeles and struggled throughout the 2020 season. Even though his team won the World Series, he slashed 190, 285, 397 with 7 home runs and 16 RBIs while appearing in 43 games. It was a far cry from past years. He was an all-star in 2015 behind a 210, 346, 417 slash line, 26 home runs and 54 RBIs in his first full season in the major leagues, which hinted at a overall power to come. He drilled 25 long balls in 2016. 25 in 2018, and a career best 36 in 2019, while also finishing a career high 249 batting average. So yeah, like I said, he's more of a power hitter. He's not 100 to nothing, but he's probably about 70 to 30 now, like I said. And he did struggle last season, but part of that was he did play only in 43 games. You assume it's a 162 game season, he plays 90 to 100. There's some concerns given his 2020 performance, but Peterson is just 28 years old and already has 64 playoff games on his resume. He will look to return to form in the middle of Chicago's lineup alongside Chris Bryant and Javier Baez. So, yeah, like I said, he's 64 playoff games. He's only 28 years old. So, it's a smart move to sign him to a 1-year deal. And I've never said on this podcast that he's the best player ever. I said he's probably about 70% power, 30% contact, which means more than likely he's going to hit a home run over a single or a double. and it's going to be more than likely, if he doesn't hit a home run, it might be a strikeout or a ground out or something like that. But still, he's a solid player. And if you look at the numbers, it's not amazing, but he's got a power batting average. I mean, he's 249 in his career. He's 249 in his career high in 2019. So there's something missing there, because 2019, his first 4 years of his career were amazing. The season that was so weird, the season that came into so many roadblocks and challenges, he struggled. So if you just put him in a normal environment, a normal season, he could thrive again. So I think it's a solid move for the Chicago Cubs. And I don't think the Dodgers are losing that much. I mean, they're losing a average to above average player. I think he's very underrated. And part of I think that is because I think a lot of people on that team take a notice to Turner, Seager, Bellinger, Betts. I think he was kind of a little bit of the lost guy there. Meanwhile, he was there before a lot of those other guys. And that's another thing. He's a young player. You're not taking that big of a risk. It's not like you're signing it's not like this is a 37-year-old coming off his career worst. This is a young guy. He's coming off his a very bad year, right? So you could still, he's young, which is amazing, because if there's a problem in his swing, you could definitely fix that. He's early enough in his career to fix that. He's only 28. It's different if you would sign a 39-year-old that had a bad year. You really can't fix that. He's been in the league for 15 years, right? This is a guy that's only been in the league for 5 years, and we've seen what he can do. He can drill the long ball, and like I said, it's almost like a Schwarber in a way. Schwarber leaves, he comes in. So a solid move for the Cubs. I think it's good. So yeah, let's see here. Let's get this back up. Let's get some stats up here. Although I read some of them, I want to read some of his career stats and show you that he could be solid. And who knows? And I don't want to blame everything on last season, because I'm still taking stats from last season. But, we'll see here. Let's see. Boom. All right. So, Jock Peterson, his 2020 stats had 121 at bats, 190 batting average, 7 home runs, 16 RBIs, 1 stolen base, and an OPS of 681. His MLB career stats, he's at 2,153 at-bats, 230 is his batting average, 130 home runs, 303 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, and an 806 OPS. He's been in the league for 5 years. It's about 17 stolen bases, so 5, that's 3, about 3 stolen bases a season, so not amazing base runner, but I guess you consider him meh. I'm not really going to get to the base runner side of that. Obviously, he was drafted from the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2010, round 11 overall, pick 352. So he was drafted, really pretty long time ago, but obviously came up in the minors and is now here. And it's kind of crazy. This almost reminds you a little bit of the Steven Matz thing. He's been in the MLB for now what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years now. So this is his 8th season in the league. Obviously you look at it. And obviously, look, he plays left field, so, it's one of those things where, he's just, seems perfectly fine, as long as he doesn't get lost in the ivy over there, if you get what I'm saying, Wrigley there. To look at some of the numbers here of his career, the All-Star season, he had 151 games played, 480 at-bats, 67 runs scored, 101 hits, 19 doubles, 1 triple, and he had 26 home runs. That's at 2019 he had 36 home runs, but 26 home runs, 54 RBIs, 92 walks. So he does get walked a good amount. He's gotten 304 walks in his career. So that's another thing too I'm noticing too, is he had a lot of strikeouts that year though. And if you actually look at the numbers, his first year had 170 strikeouts. That's a lot of strikeouts. His next year at 130. The year after that, he had 68. Then 85. Then 111. And then last year, 34. So, back to my point of he's not complete power anymore, meaning he does not strike it out that much. And strikeouts have a lot to do with your power. If you're going to hit for power and you're going to hit for the fences every time, if you're going to hit for power and you're going to hit for the fences a lot of time, it's going to be a lot of times home run or bust. But, obviously, the year that he had 136 home runs, he had 111 strikeouts. And you might think that's a lot. 111, to be honest, actually isn't a crazy amount. There's some players out there, like some really good players that get like 200. You also got to realize these guys in a normal season are getting about 480 at-bats. And let's say their batting average is like 270, that's about normal. 480 at-bats, let's say your batting average is 270, it's about 2 hits at 10 at-bats. Do the math, it's all right. But he's got, I mean, like I said, he's got like about a power hitting average. His slugging percentage has been very high, though. 400, 495, 417, 407, 522, 538. This season, obviously, was a little lower. His OPS this season was pretty high. So, obviously, it was pretty good. But, it's obviously, it's one of these things where it's not, a lot of people as Cubs fans might be like, oh, it's only Jock Peterson, but you got to realize it's a low risk. You know what? You give him $7 million, he doesn't have a great year, okay, he's a free agent next season. If he goes out, he has a great year, he puts up 35, 40 home runs, he has like a 260 batting average, does well, outfielding is good. You go out there and there you have it. I feel like in a way, and not saying that he's not, I think he'll do pretty good there, but not saying that he has to be in the American League, but I do really feel like if he was in the American League, he would benefit from this. And the reason why is I think he would be a solid DH, but that's how the MLB is. There's no DH in the American League, or the National League, I should say. So, that's the one thing I would say that's not great about this, is if I was an American League team, I would have definitely taken a shot at him, because he's a good left fielder, but his hitting, too, when he gets power and stuff, a lot of times I feel like, DH would be perfect for him, but, who knows? We'll see. He's a good outfielder, too. And let's see. If he has not a great year hitting-wise, but he does solid outfield, then that puts the Cubs in an interesting situation. But I feel like in the Cubs right now, they're thinking, you know what? He's young. He's only 28 years old. He's got some peer experience. He's been in the league. This is his 8th season in the league. He's had a pretty solid career. He's had his moments. He's coming off of a tough year. We put him in our system. We put him with our coaches. We work with him. He could be solid. It's kind of one of these low-risk things. It's not a high risk because you didn't sign him to a 5-year deal, $400 million. You signed him to a 1-year contract. If he struggles, you only gave up $7 million. It's really not that much. Some of these guys are getting paid $400 million. You only give them up $7 million. It's not that much. He's a free agent next season. If he does well, then you sign him to an extension. If he does average and you want to bring him back, you sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal. I like how the Cubs are taking this. I think it's a smart decision. Coming up next, Nolan Arenado rumors are heating up once again. I'm going to tell you if I buy into it or not. Not play buy or sell, but I'm going to tell you if I buy into it. Because I'll tell you what, these rumors have happened 5-6 times this season. And I love rumors and stuff. I sometimes like to play with them a little bit. But at the same time, when these rumors, it seems a new one happens every week. Sometimes you don't know if you should buy into it or not. But this is a new one. This is with the Cardinals this time. We've heard the Braves. We've heard the Mets. I think we've even heard depending on what happens with Chris Bryant, I think we've even heard a little bit with the Cubs here. Nolan Arenado, the Cardinals have serious interest in Nolan Arenado, and they're the most recent team to talk to the Rockies about a possible deal for the All-Star third baseman. Nolan Arenado and the Cardinals rumors coming up next. Alrighty, so here we go. So, Nolan Arenado, some of these rumors, here, let's get this up here. Okay, so here we go. So, Nolan Arenado trade rumors. Cardinals-Rockies discussing deal for All-Star third baseman. So before I get into it, I wouldn't say I'm a huge rumor guy. They give you stuff to talk about. They give you things to look forward to. If you're, for example, if you're like me and you do podcasts, you do broadcasts, if you're trying to figure out something to talk about, which is very easy with sports back on, there's an MLB offseason really starting to heat up. It's very easy to find topics. As a matter of fact, usually I know what I'm going to talk about days in advance. For example, Friday for the NFL game picks during the NFL season, I know I'm going to talk about that. I knew yesterday when I I knew Harden, that one Harden, or any deal. What did I talk about yesterday? I talked about the Tanaka deal. That happened. I knew I was going to talk about it. Steven Matz happened the day before. I knew what I was going to talk about. So I usually know what I'm talking about days in advance. Usually. Some days, I figure out, some days I'll usually have a plan. I don't want to talk too much of one thing. I know this doesn't have too much to do with Nolan Arenado, but this will connect soon. I don't usually want to talk about so much one thing, baseball every single day, or basketball every single day, or hockey every single day. I don't want to always talk about that. I do talk about hockey and basketball almost every single day, yeah, but it's in a smaller variety. It's not, I do a full 30-minute topic on it. So I would go ahead and say I'm not a huge guy to rumors. I'm not a guy that buys into every single rumor out there. I'm not a guy that's going to, something comes out and I'm going to say, oh, this guy's going here, or oh, he's expected to join this team. No, because there's a difference between an expectation or someone's expected to join a team and a rumor. A rumor is, an insider heard that this team's conversation. That's a rumor. Or a rumor could be, something about this guy, at the end of the season, mention that, his, a possibility of him going to another team. And a rumor could be, oh, there's rumors that he might go here, or the rumor that might go here. So the Nolan Arenado rumors, and this is why I actually debated on talking about this, but the Nolan Arenado rumors, I would say, have been one of the more hotter rumors this offseason. You've heard the Mets involved. We've heard, I've even heard the Yankees a little bit, but I don't see why we would do that with Urshela. The Yankees aren't even in these sweepstakes. We've heard the Braves. We've heard the most of the Braves, I think. And now today we just heard about the Cardinals. So it's really odd to hear that we just heard today about the Cardinals, which makes me feel like there could be something happening soon. Because this is the first time I've heard that the Cardinals and Nolan Arenado were even interested in each other. And now all of a sudden that's happening, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, all right, like this is the first time we've heard the Cardinals have interest in Nolan Arenado. So, which makes me get into my Nolan Arenado point is this rumor, I do feel possibility that this could definitely happen. Because sometimes when things pop out of the middle of nowhere, they're usually pretty trustworthy. And when you hear about things almost every single day for, a long time, like the Mets, every day we heard that, oh, Springer going to the Mets, oh, Bauer going to the Mets. It hasn't even happened yet. Springer hasn't, Bauer hasn't, either, but Bauer hasn't signed with any team. So it makes me feel like, with the season getting closer, it seems like in a way Nolan Arenado to the Cardinals seems likely right now. Am I going to completely buy into this? I don't know, because I've heard so much of it. But what I will tell you is this. Back to my point with the Jock Peterson thing. There's a difference between a player that can take your team from about right here to here, and there's a difference from taking your team to here to just about up here. Nolan Arenado would go to the category of just about here. And I'll tell you why right now. Nolan Arenado is a very, very good player. He's obviously every year of his career so far, he has won a Gold Glove Award. He is, when I talked about earlier, I said with Jock Peterson, he's probably about 65 to 35 contact or power to contact. 70 to 30 probably. 65, 70, wherever you want to call it. And I said about Nolan Arenado, I'm going to say about Nolan Arenado now, but I would say Nolan Arenado is probably about, I would say that Nolan Arenado is probably out 50-50. He's like a LeMahieu in a way. He can hit the long ball. He can also hit the home run. He can home run, but he's not as nearly as a good hitter as LeMahieu, but he could hit the home run and he could also get contact. He might be slightly more contact than home run. Maybe like a 55 or a 51-49 might be the slightest bit if you really took a deep dive into some of the numbers. But, even just watching him, the eye test and the numbers kind of show you that he's about 50-50. So you're getting a really good defender in Nolan Arenado, and you're going to get a really solid hitter in Nolan Arenado. And this was actually the Rockies team a couple years ago that was insanely dominant. This team was unstoppable at times. A couple years ago when they had Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story and DJ LeMahieu, and the team was just dominant. You had Carlos Gonzalez, who was insane at them at that time. It was just unbelievable. It really was just insane how good Nolan Arenado really was. And, he's a really dominant player. I mean, I think he's probably one of the best. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, third baseman in the MLB. I think he's, without a doubt, probably the best defender in the MLB. I mean, you could say there's a couple other guys. You could break down defending in so many ways. You could go arm. You could go glove. You could go highlight plays. You could just go straight up, just situational stuff. Catches the ball, throws it in. I mean, how good is that? Well, what's his timing, right? You can even go, highlight plays. Oh, behind the back, the spin move, the triple flip, the throw to first. Or wow, that's an exaggeration. But if you know what I'm saying. I feel like, in a way, Nolan Arenado checks all those boxes off. Fantastic plays, check. Obviously the highlight reels, check. The situational stuff, check. I feel like he checks off almost every single defensive box that you could possibly think of, and that's why I do think he's probably the best defending third baseman in the league. And I don't think you could really say that he's not a top 5 defender in the MLB. I mean, this is a guy that is an absolute vacuum machine at third base. I mean, this guy, everything he comes his way, he picks it right up. Everything that happens, he gets it right up. And he's a very smart player. He's getting slightly older. He's been with the team for a little bit now, but he's still playing at such a high level. Each year as he gets older, it almost seems like he gets better. And that just goes to show you how good he can be, because he's so good. Each year he gets older, every year he's getting better. He's improving. And I think that's really, really, really big for the Rockies and for a team like the Cardinals to get him. Now, if the Cardinals get him, this would be huge, because you possibly have a very possible chance of losing Colton Wong, who could very well be your best infielder. So you're going to lose him. Clears up some cap space for Arenado. You would then bring Arenado in and go from there. Now, one of the interesting situations here is the Cardinals are a younger team. They're they have a couple veterans on that team, but I would say for the most part, it's kind of in a way like they're a little bit switching to some of their younger guys. Flaherty's younger. They just signed Wainwright to a 1-year deal. He's older, but I would think his career is going to be slowing down a little bit sooner. You've got a couple of young guys on that team. You got a couple of younger players on that team, and I feel like adding Arenado might, switch that up a little bit. But I'll tell you what, I think the Cardinals right now are probably about right here. They did make the wild card last year, and if they get Arenado, I think they could even be even better. With that pitching staff, with that, they got a solid coaching staff, they got a solid catcher in Yadier Molina. I think it would be really big to bring in, a guy like a Nolan Arenado, bring him around the locker room and things like that. And Nolan Arenado, he has a big contract. So like I said, with Wong leaving, it might make things a little difficult, which could possibly be the reason. You got to always look at every single angle of possibly rumors, but could be the reason why they signed Wainwright today to just a 1-year deal and not a 2-3-year deal. It could be because of his age. It could be because of the money they're trying to save up for Arenado. Here's the one thing, though. You don't have Wong. He's a free agent. So it's not like you could put Colton Wong in the deal. Colton Wong, I think, would be excellent in the deal. It would be interesting to see how this deal works out, though, because you got to realize the Rockies are going to give up a big contract, and they got to owe him a lot of money. And I've done this so many times now where I've read the contracts off of how much money he's got, and Arenado's got like the 5th largest contract in the MLB. I think it's actually might be the 4th largest contract in the MLB. He just signed an extension like 2 years ago. He's on like the 2nd year of like a 7-year deal, so it's a lot of money. As the Rockies, you have to make a decision. Do you want to stay? And Nolan Arenado's not pushing his way out of Colorado. I think it's just more of, I think both sides kind of mutually agree. They've been together for a long time. I think both sides could very well mutually agree that, there's a possibility of him possibly now here, which is weird because just 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, they signed that big deal. And ever since they signed that deal, it almost seems like he hasn't been, now all of a sudden, it's almost like they've been at odds since. But I'll tell you what, if the Cardinals get this big, whoever gets Nolan Arenado is big. And Nolan Arenado could very well be opening day, be on the Rockies. That's a very possibility. But this does make it interesting because I haven't heard the Cardinals pop up. And a lot of times when teams have a strict deal in place, they pop up. So we'll see what happens. Nolan Arenado trade rumors, Cardinals, Rockies, discussing deal for all-star third baseman. Nolan Arenado may be on his way out of Colorado. On his way out of Colorado. Ken Rosenthal, The Athletic, reported Thursday that the St. Louis Cardinals are in discussions with the Rockies about the third baseman, though no deal appears close. The 29-year-old is entering his 9th year in the league, but he is doing so off his worst season since his rookie campaign in 2013. Still, he spent almost the entirety of the year playing through a shoulder injury sustained in the 5th game per Rosenthal. MLB Network's John Morosi reported earlier Thursday that the Rockies were open to offers for Arenado. The 8-time Gold Glove winner followed up his 5th consecutive All-Star campaign by hitting .253, .303, and .434 in a pandemic-shortened season. In 2019, he posted a career-high .315 batting average with 118 RBIs and 41 home runs, one shy of his career high. Ahead of the 2019 campaign, Arenado inked the largest deal in Rockies history when he signed an 8-year, $260 million contract, but shortly after doing so, he became disgruntled with the general manager, Jeff Burdich, and according to Rosenthal, Arenado became frustrated throughout the 2019 season, and after very public feuding, said his GM was very disrespectful. The Cardinals had veteran Matt Carpenter and Tommy Edwin split time at third base in 2020, which I was going to say earlier that it might run into some complication with Matt Carpenter, but we'll see how that goes in 2020. Though Arenado would certainly be an offensive upgrade over either, Edman hit .250 with 226 RBIs through 55 games last season, his second in the majors. While the 35-year-old Carpenter slashed a 186 to 325 and 314 in 50 appearances. So you got a younger guy and an older guy there. So I would probably say if you're going to send someone, Carpenter, and then bring 2 younger guys more there. You know, he's still 29, Arenado, and the other guys, obviously, like they said, only in his second season. So this would be really interesting. But it's kind of funny. They said he had a down year last year. It was a down year for Nolan Arenado. And a down year for Nolan Arenado is a lot of these guys out there good years. So it just goes to show you how good he is. So let's go look at some of the numbers here with Nolan Arenado. And then we'll close this podcast out here. All right, here we go. So, 2020 stats, he had 182 at-bats, 253 batting average, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs, no stolen bases, and 738 OPS. In his MLB career stats, he has 4,118 at-bats, 293 batting average, 235 home runs, 760 RBIs, 16 stolen bases, and an 890 OPS. So that's that. He obviously his debut was in 2013. He was drafted by the Colorado Rockies in 2009. Round 2 overall pick was 59th. With 59, so obviously he's been with the team now for a little bit. And I mean, you've seen it. I mean, his numbers just are insane. I mean, they got the home runs, the doubles, the singles. His career high was 42 home runs. 2019 he hit 41. He's gotten many triples. He's got 27 triples in his career. He's got multiple doubles. He's got 262 doubles, 235 home runs, which just goes to show you that he's more of a contact guy. He's more of a balanced hitter. He's got 235 home runs and 262 doubles. So, it shows that, and I'm sure singles even more. And he's got 1,206 hits. So, every year of his career, he's gotten 100 hits except last season, but it was also a shortened year, so it was tough to get 100 hits. But he's definitely on pace. I mean, he's on pace to. I mean, I don't know if he's on pace, but there's definitely a good shot he gets up there and hits. So he's a very good player, very good player, and to a young Cardinals team and mixed team would be really good to bring in Nolan Arenado there. So that's what I got for that topic. Now I move on to the NBA and stuff. Let's get to the NBA yesterday. The Suns won, Clippers won, Pistons won, and Rockets won. Today, we got Hawks, Wizards gives Hawks the win. Pacers, Hornets give Pacers the win. Bucks, Pelicans give Bucks the win. Cavaliers, Knicks give Cavs the win. Kings, Raptors give Raptors the win. 76ers, Timberwolves give 76ers the win. Clippers, Magic give Clippers the win. Nuggets, Spurs give Nuggets the win. And Mavericks, Jazz gives the Jazz the win. Knicks obviously play against the Cavaliers. They're home. I give the Cavs the win. Knicks have been struggling. Defensively, they haven't been good, and that's the problem because that's the strength of their team. And Cavs have been really playing well. The Nets played tonight as well. The Nets come in this game 12-8. The Thunder come in this game 8-9. The Nets are 7-point favorites. The over/under is 229.5 for this game. You can find this game 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FS Oklahoma, or you can find it on Yes Network. I'll be watching on Yes Network. Should be a really good game. I'm excited. KD is out tonight. They decided to rest him. He played some big minutes the past couple games, so they rested him. He will be out this game. I still give the Nets the win. I love the way they've been playing. Thunder, our defense has stepped up the past 2 games and played pretty well. Thunder's offense is one of the worst in the leagues. I give the Nets the win. As for NHL, yesterday the Maple Leafs won, Canucks won, Coyotes won, Avalanche won, Stars won, Wild won, Canadians won, Blue Jackets won, Capitals won, Bruins won, Hurricanes won, Flyers won. And the Rangers also won yesterday. They won 3-2. We moved to 2-4-1 in the season. Like I said earlier, Lafreniere had a goal, Panarin had a goal, Zibanejad had a goal. Big game like that. Blackwell in his 3rd straight game as a Ranger recorded a point. He had an assist. Lafreniere finally, Lafreniere gets a goal, and it was an overtime winner. It was a great moment as a fan. It was a great moment, I'm sure, for him. Just really great to see that. So the Rangers got the win, big win for them. Today it's the Blue Jackets. Blackhawks give Blue Jackets the win, and for NBA as well. Tomorrow, I'll give the Bucks the win. The Heat the win, the Rockets the win, the Trailblazers the win, Spurs the win, Lakers the win, Suns the win, and Warriors the win. And on Sunday as well, I'll give the Nets the win, the Clippers the win. Let's see here. I'll give the Jazz the win, 76ers the win, Raptors the win, and Cavs the win. And then, so that's that. And then for the NHL, tomorrow we got Devils, Sabres, give Sabres the win. Capitals, Bruins, I'll give Capitals the win. Let's see here. Canadians, Flames, give Canadians the win. Islanders, Flyers, give Flyers the win. Oilers, Maple Leafs, give Maple Leafs the win. Panthers, Red Wings, give Panthers the win. Lightning, Predators, give Lightning the win. Hurricanes, Stars, give Stars the win. Avalanche, Wild, give Avalanche the win. I guess I'll give Hurricanes the win there. Blues, Ducks, give Blues the win. And Canucks, Jets, give Jets the win. And the Rangers also put the Penguins. I'll give the Rangers the win there. And then on Sunday, there's some more games. I give the Sabres the win, the Panthers the win, Stars the win, Blue Jackets the win, Flyers the win, Avalanche the win, Blues the win, and Oilers the win. So those are all your games there for the NHL. So it's great to have NHL back, obviously. And then for college basketball, yesterday, Gonzaga won, Houston won, and Kansas won. Today we got St. Louis and Richmond. I give Richmond the win, and Iowa and Illinois, I'll give Illinois the win. And tomorrow we got a ton of games on tomorrow. Alabama, Oklahoma, give Alabama the win. West Virginia, Florida, give West Virginia the win. Missouri, TCU, give Missouri the win. Texas Tech, LSU, give Texas Tech the win. Villanova, Seton, give Villanova the win. Wisconsin, Penn State, give Wisconsin the win. Baylor, Auburn, give Baylor the win. Florida State, Georgia Tech, give Florida State the win. Texas, Tennessee, Kansas, give Kansas the win. Virginia Tech, Virginia, give Virginia the win. UCLA, Oregon State, give UCLA the win. Minnesota, Purdue, give Minnesota the win. Creighton, DePaul, give Creighton the win. Gonzaga and Pepperdine, give Gonzaga the win. And then on Sunday, Ohio State, Michigan State, Ohio State, give Ohio State the win. And Houston, SMU, give Houston the win. And obviously, Kentucky does not play there. So that's that. Is that all I got for that? Yeah. Now I move on to obviously some fantasy here. Obviously, Kentucky did not play. They had some COVID issues there, so they will not be playing. But all the other Nets and Rangers do as well. Nets and Rangers will play, though. So right now I'm losing in fantasy basketball, 891 to 815. Today I got some guys going. I've got Trae Young, Bradley Beal, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Kyrie Irving, Kyle Lowry, and Fred VanVleet. It's the injury report. Anthony Davis day-to-day. Davis quad will not play in Thursday's game against Detroit. Jovan Buha of The Athletic reports. So that came out yesterday. No new news on him. He did not play yesterday, obviously. Jimmy Butler's out. Butler COVID-19 protocols will not play Thursday against the Clippers. That came out yesterday as well. And Valanciunas, the COVID-19 protocols and the Grizzlies will not play Wednesday against the Bulls after the game was postponed. So that's that as well. And as for my hot fantasy hockey league, I'm winning 62 to 61 right now. So that's good. And tonight I've got Duncan Keith going. I've made a move. I made actually a couple moves here. So Jamie Benn got placed on IR. Ben lower body was placed on injured reserve Thursday. So that's the injury report there. So I moved Jamie Benn to my IR, and I picked up Joe Paveleski, who has been really good, another Dallas Stars player. And I got Duncan Keith going in. Got Duncan Keith going tonight in tonight's game. So yeah. That's what I got for the podcast here today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. It was another really good podcast. A lot of really good baseball news. Baseball's right around the corner. Should be really exciting. So that's good. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Like I said, another really, really good podcast, obviously. So that was good. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. A lot of, even though a lot of people might be thinking, but even though there's obviously, even though there's obviously no football on, there's still a lot of, other sports on as well, so that's really good. So another packed sports weekend ahead of us. It should be really good. I'm really excited. As you all know, I take breaks on the weekend, so I'll see you all back here on Monday, obviously. So everyone, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all the sports that are on. Enjoy it. Should be another fun sports weekend ahead of us. With all that being said, I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.